This weekend only, get How to Master the Game for half off, plus a $250 credit towards Womanies Volume 3 when it drops on Black Friday. Use coupon code GAME50. Link in description.
For once, I decide to look for a good guy.
For once, she said, I decided to try to look for a good guy. Which means she's been chasing bad boys and men who are bad for her. I love how women always tell on themselves. Right? One of the best kept secrets in dating is if you let a woman talk long enough, eventually she will reveal the truth.
And hence Fernando.
Ah, Fernando.
The perfect boyfriend.
The perfect boyfriend. Mr. Right. Oh, look at this. So Fernando, look at Fernando, guys. He's well-mannered. He's well-dressed. You can see here he's a little effeminate. He's the perfect boyfriend. He is Mr. Right, she says. No, Fernando is beta box. Look at this guy. You can see he lacks confidence. You can see he lacks drive. Listen, he's just another nice guy looking to rescue another promiscuous female from their bad decisions. Anytime a woman calls you the perfect boyfriend or a Mr. Right, she is telling you she is not aroused by you. Carla, the woman I foolishly rented a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house near downtown Raleigh for while she was sleeping with the baby daddy who had just gotten out of prison, unbeknownst to me until I got out of jail for a week. She told me once, she said, Donovan, you are husband material. I was on cloud 9 when she told me that. I was like, oh my God, husband material? Carla wants to marry me? I had no idea that she was telling me that I'm going to use you for all of my non-sexual needs when I become unattractive to the men that arouse me. I'm going to keep you around so I can marry you because I know you're going to take care of me and my one son and hopefully help me to get back my other 3 kids that have been taken away from me. I was on cloud 9, man. I was like, oh my God, Carla wants to marry me. I must be the luckiest man on earth.
I finally become the nice Jewish girl everyone wants me to be. Throughout our relationship, we attend 18 weddings. But when the time comes to plan our own, I realize I'm not being true to myself.
I realized I'm not being true to myself. Translation, I'm not aroused by Fernando. Guys, this is so predictable. Did we really expect Paula to stay with Fernando? Of course not. Let me put up a couple of pictures. To show you how not into Fernando she is. Let's take a look. That's her pre-wall, post-wall. This is Fernando at the top of your screen. There's Paula on the bottom. What do you notice? She is literally turning away from him. Women don't turn away from men they love in pictures. Here's another one, the one that was just on your screen. He's kissing her, and she could not look more uncomfortable. This is unbelievable. She is so not into Fernando. He doesn't get it. She does. She's not aroused by Fernando. She's attracted to his nice guy persona. She's attracted to him because her family likes him. But a funny thing happens when you ride the carousel. You are no longer genuinely aroused by men who are attractive. Men who possess the qualities of a gentleman. When you gorge on bad boys and players for a decade plus, like the ones on your screen, you lose the ability to be turned on by men who aren't delinquents. You lose the ability to be turned on by men who aren't deviants. You lose the ability to be turned on by men who aren't womanizers. A guy like this is one of her intense, passionate love stories. Look at this guy. It's like a person who does crystal for 3 years, fries their pleasure receptors, goes into detox, gets clean, but can't figure out why they're no longer excited by even the simple things in life, like a good steak, or maybe a funny movie, or a trip to the beach, or an unbelievable bike riding adventure. Here's that love at first sight. How much you want to bet this guy was a bad boy? Look at the smile on her face. Look at the twinkle in her eye. Let's put this up side by side. Here is her with the love of her life on the right, Fernando on the left. Like the cat that ate the canary on the right. Look at her. Big eating grin, eyes just a twinkling. They either probably just got done having or about to have or having maybe even all 3. Riding the carousel, gentlemen, fries a woman's, quote, dating receptors to the point to where she requires only bad boys to turn her on. You see, regular, healthy, mentally stable men no longer excite or arouse her. That's why Fernando is out the door now. But like most women, Paula will never say, well, I'm just not aroused by Fernando because I sport my way through my 20s and no longer have the ability to bond with the kinds of men who would make great husbands. No, they would never say this. Instead, they say, I realized I wasn't being true to myself. Being true to yourself, what does that even mean? It means literally nothing. But women like to use this excuse to cover up the fact that the men that they're with aren't giving them the same kind of dopamine hits that the crystal level men used to give them in their 20s. Let's look at these crystal. Look at this guy. This guy right here, listen, he's got a devil may care attitude. Zero given in this guy's face. Sitting there smoking in the pool. He doesn't care. This guy's a stunt man. Probably pounded her out. This guy, the love of her life. The hot, he's probably, I don't know, he looks like he's an Italian guy. Right? It sounds so much more profound when she says, I have to be true to myself. So I had to leave Orlando. Then her friends, girl, I totally understand. You have to be true to yourself no matter what. You see, this helps her avoid judgment when she says, I wasn't really being true to myself. Let me actually show you a picture of somebody else who ended up settling for the beta bucks. That's right. Listen. This is case in point. This is the case study on a female, Sierra, who has successfully pulled off both sides of a woman's dualistic sexual dating strategy. Sierra messed with the bad boys in her 20s, banged 50 Cent, banged Trey Songz, Amari Stoudemire, banged all the NBA superstars. All of them. Had a baby with Future, banging the rappers, was all good. As soon as she hit 30, she jumped off the carousel and got with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is black and an athlete. That is where the similarities end when it comes to the men that Sierra was used to having between her legs. Sierra is attracted to Russell Wilson because of who he is, but she does not like what he is. Beta bucks. Look at her leaning away from him. In every picture, Russell is leaning into Sierra. She's leaning away. Even this one, which isn't quite so obvious. Look, Russell's leaning in. Sierra's doing her damnedest to keep that space. Well, it's the same with Paula and Fernando. As you can see here, he is leaning in to kiss her, and she is uncomfortably...
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a few pictures of Richard and Jenna. We take a look at this first picture. I believe this picture was taken in Times Square. One thing that is indicative of women who are not really aroused by their boyfriends or husbands is that he leans in, she leans away, and or there's space between them. In this picture, it looks as though she is pushing him away. Wait a minute, the camera's on. Let me pull you a little bit closer. Here we go. So here they are at the beach. He's got his arm around her. Notice how she's standing straight up. She can't lean into... She could lean in. He is slightly leaning in. She is slightly leaning away, and her hand is down at her side. Again, if she really were turned on by her husband, if she really were aroused by him, her hand would be on his chest. This is a telltale sign of a woman who is sexually attracted to a man. She's making physical contact with both hands. Look at this picture. This is qualification number 1. He's looking at her, she's looking at the camera. Dude, Rollo Tomasi talks about this all the time. You see in these pictures that the girl, if the girl pays more attention to the camera than she is him, she's not into the guy. Not only is she leaning her head back away from him, she is there's space between them. Guys, space between, guys, look. Dude, there's a good 6 inches between these two. Her head is turned, her head is leaned back. I don't know how else I can put this any more obvious. Dude, you can see the plants between them. There's like good 6-8 inches between them. His hand is around. Dude, he is trying to grasp her and bring her closer. She doesn't want to because she ain't turned on. Look at it. Her hand is not only down by her side, it's behind her. She wants nothing. She does not even want to touch this dude. There he is, leaning over. He's grabbing her, leaning over. Leaning over. She's leaning away. Her hand is at her side, boss. She doesn't want to touch the guy, and she can't get far enough away from him. Oh, well, look at this. Here's an interesting picture. Her head is tilted towards this guy. She's pointing at this guy. Look at the $1 million smile on this face. That's not her husband, guys. That's somebody else, probably one of her husband's homeboys. This guy is tatted up, right? This guy's got piercings. This guy, dude, the dude looks like an essay. Looks like he's a gang. Looks like an East LA Crip. And there is Jenna, right there, pointing at him. Dude, smile lines, face lighting up the screen. Ain't no distance. Look, check this out. This is her husband. Distance between, look at all this gap. Look at this gap. There's a gap there, right? We got a 6-foot gap there. She can't get further enough away. All of a sudden now you get with the essay, man, all you got to do is look at these pictures and you can tell that she is not sexually aroused by her man. Guys, this is so, dude, guys, this is so obvious. Clearly not sexually attracted to her husband. Take a look at your screen, guys. Look at the photo. Look at the picture on the left. He is leaning in for a kiss. She's not only leaning away, she looks like she could not be more uncomfortable. This looks like an awkward cheek kiss from an ex-boyfriend. She is clearly not aroused by or sexually attracted to her husband. You look at the photo on the right. Again, she's leaning away. She's also paying more attention to the camera than she is to him. Right? He's leaning in. She's leaning. Look how she tilts her head away. This is unbelievable. Listen, again, this is body language 101. Let's go to the next set of photos here. There we are. Here we are. More leaning away, right? You can even see the slight leans, guys. She doesn't have to be way back like Sierra does with Russell Wilson, but just notice, he is leaning into her, and I'm looking at the photo on the left here. She's leaning away from him. Even though they've got the cheesy coffee mugs, that's what she said, and I said yes, and the wedding ring and all, she is still leaning away. Then look at the photo on the right. I'm assuming that this is his mother or her mother or whoever. But even though she is facing her husband, she is still tilting her head. He is leaning into her. She is leaning away from him. Gentlemen, this is the body language of a woman who is not aroused by the man she's with. Again, this is body language 101. Let's take a look at another photo. And this one is much more telling. So in the upper left-hand corner, you see her husband with his eating grin cheeseburger smile. In the middle, there's Holly, but she's leaning into someone who is not her husband. You see this girl's body language? She is leaning, she is pressing herself into this guy, and he's even throwing up a peace sign. You see the peace sign he's throwing up underneath? It looks as though part of his hand is probably touching her breast, which is not an accident. Guys, again, body language never lies, guys. You really have to pay attention and look at these kinds of things. Her husband is on the left. She is leaning away from him. There is another dude on the right she is leaning into, and he's probably grazing her.
Only get How to Master the Game for half off, plus a $250 credit towards Womanies Volume 3 when it drops on Black Friday. Use coupon code GAME50. Link in description.